What the? G'day again, punters. Rightio. Let's check out the so-called Bosnian Pyramids. Are they a man-made structure, or are they an elaborate hoax? Let's find out.
My name is Kaleigh, and in this video I'm going to take a look at the supposed Bosnian Pyramids. Are they actually the oldest man-made pyramids, or is this just a very elaborate hoax? The supposed Bosnian Pyramids have captivated historians, archaeologists, and enthusiasts worldwide for nearly 2 decades now. But are these truly man-made pyramids? Or are they just mountains with a slight pyramidal shape that some people want to make you believe are man-made pyramids? Let's find out if this is a very elaborate hoax or not, and let's take a look at the latest news surrounding the Bosnian Pyramids, shall we? It all started way back in April of 2005 when Bosnian-American businessman Semir Osmanagic was invited to visit the old town of Visoko and its fortress ruins. Apparently, he noticed the pyramidal shape of Visočica Hill and decided to write a book promoting the idea that the hill was a remnant of a man-made ancient pyramid. He claimed that the pyramid was one of 5 massive stone structures in the shape of a pyramid with an extensive prehistoric tunnel network. He then named those 5 structures the Bosnian Pyramids and established the charitable foundation, the Archaeological Park Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun Foundation, to fund the promotion and investigation of the site. Osmanagic has said that these pyramids are the most monumental construction complex ever built on the face of the planet. In October 2005, Osmanagic and his supporters initiated a long-running media campaign to promote their belief that Visočica Hill and the surrounding hills are an ancient pyramid complex. Excavations were carried out in 2006, and according to Osmanagic, the excavations involved an international team of archaeologists from Australia and Austria, Ireland, United Kingdom, and Slovenia. But many of the archaeologists Osmanagic named, having worked on the excavation, have stated that they not only did not agree to participate at the dig, they were actually also never even present at the site.
But hard material evidence for these huge angular hills being man-made structures really is hard to come by. For a start, the so-called Pyramid of the Sun only looks like a pyramid from this angle, because only one face of this natural hill is truly triangular. Have you ever wondered why this is the angle that's been used in just about every single photograph? Take a look at the aerial satellite photographs. We do see 4 angular faces, but only the north face is really similar to what we would expect of a pyramid. Zoom out further, and you can see that the so-called pyramid is clearly just part of the natural high ground located south and west of Visoko. A lot of people interested in ancient civilizations want to believe in the Bosnian Pyramids. And as I said, I do too. I really do. But I feel that a lot of us have been taken in by many of the claims which I'll come to later. When academics agree with respected alternative researchers, a group of people including Zahi Hawass, Graham Hancock and Robert Schoch, yes, this is actually something they all agree on, then you know that there must be serious doubts about the authenticity of the Bosnian Pyramids.
Yeah, Osmanagic has also claimed the support of an Oxford archaeologist, but this particular person was found to be an unqualified undergraduate. The Foundation's website has also claimed the support of a British Member of Parliament in the past. But the name that was mentioned on the website is not a name of any sitting Member of Parliament, not from the time it was mentioned, and not from someone who sat in the past. So it's a name that was never connected to the British Parliament. Great. While Osmanagic had zero evidence for his claims to be true, the Bosnian government was thrilled, as it had boosted tourism from the worldwide media attention that it had gathered. Many tourists flocked to the so-called Pyramid Valley in Visoko, and this boost in tourism and boost in their national pride was extremely welcome after the devastating Bosnian War that started in 1992 and ended in 1995. This war devastated the entire country. So Osmanagic was seen as a national hero, although the experts did not believe him and were unable to find any evidence to support his claims. And as you know, archaeology is evidence-based. You cannot make claims if there is no evidence. You can make a hypothesis and then research, but if there's no evidence to support your hypothesis falls flat and it's just empty. It's just a fairy tale. But in 2006, Osmanagic and a group of amateur archaeologists started digging at the hillside of one of the pyramids. As they were digging, they say they came across evidence of concrete blocks, which were man-made from a concrete that was poured on site, and these blocks weigh around 15 tons. Geologists that have seen these so-called blocks have told numerous news outlets that these are natural geological formations. Osmanagic has also hired a team of geologists in 2006 who took and analyzed core samples from the hills that he claims are pyramids, and these core samples show that these hills are composed of the same matter as other mountains in the area, alternating layers of conglomerate, clay and sandstone. For those who may not know, a conglomerate has a variable hardness and it often looks like concrete. It typically contains a matrix of finer-grained sediment, such as sand, silt or clay, which fill in the open spaces between the rocks. The rocks and matrix are typically cemented by calcium carbonate, iron oxide, silica or hardened clay. So here on the hills of Visoko, the so-called pyramids are a natural occurring formation, and these man-made concrete blocks are fractured conglomerate, which in the eyes of an amateur may look the same as man-made poured concrete. But in the eyes of a professional geologist, they will immediately, without a doubt, spot the natural creation of said sedimentary layer. Yes, this was a very oversimplified explanation of what a conglomerate is. You're welcome. So in 2006, the European Association of Archaeologists wrote an open letter to the Bosnian government, denouncing the pyramids as a cruel hoax on an unsuspecting public. This letter was written by 7 leading European archaeologists. Herman Partzinger, president of German Archaeological Institute in Berlin. Willem Willems, Inspector General of Rijksinspectie Archeologie in The Hague. Jean-Paul de Moule, president of the Institut National de Recherche Archéologie Préventive in Paris. Romuald Schild, director of the Institute of Archaeology and Ethnology of the Polish Academy of Sciences in Warsaw. Vasil Nikolov, director of the Institute of Archaeology of the Bulgarian Academy of Sciences in Sofia, Anthony Harding, president of the European Association of Archaeologists, and Mike Hayworth, director of the Council for British Archaeology in York. Archaeologists, geologists, and historians have been worried for a really long time that Osmanagic and his group of amateurs are stripping away sediment layers that could contain layers of actual archaeology from the medieval and earlier periods. In 2008, a group of archaeologists who were not related to the Osmanagic Foundation carried out some excavations at the hills, and they uncovered medieval artifacts, and they pleaded with the Bosnian government to cancel Osmanagic's digging permits. Unfortunately, this has not happened as of yet. And that was many years ago. Who knows what is destroyed and lost forever? That happened. Later in 2007, in a geological report published on November 3rd, Barakat denied that nature produces pyramidal shapes and suggested that the main formation we see today may have been a natural hill that was shaped into a pyramid by human efforts. He means in ancient times, even though it's pyramidal shaped due to Osmanagides and his team changing the shape of the hills in modern times. Although he describes his own results as the pyramids being man-made as being inconclusive. Even Robert Schoch, an American geologist who himself has made wild claims on the Sphinx in Giza, looked at the conglomerate and sandstone plates, which he concluded were common natural geological formations of little interest. He also accused the workers of carving the hillside to make impressions of stepped pyramid sides on the so-called Pyramid of the Moon, and he also drew attention to testimonies from workers at the site that the alleged ancient inscriptions at the site were actually freshly made. I may not be a fan of Robert Schoch, but I respect him for this. A former employee of Osmanagides, Nadia Nukic, told a Bosnian newspaper that carvings on stones that Osmanagides characterizes as dating from ancient times were not present when the stones were first uncovered. These carvings were later inscribed by Osmanagides' team. Of course, Osmanagides has denied this statement to be true. What else did we expect? But that's at least two different individuals in two separate instances who talk about inscriptions being created by the workers of Osmanagides. So it looks like there is some base to their claims. And multiple people telling reporters that Osmanagides and his workers have altered the hillsides to make them more pyramidal in shape. All of that put together shows us everything we need to know. Who had made them? In an interview with Philip Coppens in Nexus back in April or May of 2006, Osmanagides made the suggestion that the pyramids were most likely constructed by the Illyrians, a group of Indo-European speaking people who lived in the area between 12,000 BCE and 500 BCE, according to him. So while most of Northern and Western Europe were under a thick sheet of ice some 10,000 years ago, an ancient, unknown, mysterious civilization predating agricultural humans that would have needed advanced knowledge of construction, building techniques, building materials, mathematics, physics, and astronomy were somehow building these pyramids? All these things that have zero evidence for existing prior to the current known dates that we know from the archaeological record, from evidence that we have found in written form, and evidence that we have found by building materials or tools that were dated by the latest techniques. We would have known. So, as you can expect from me, I researched the Illyrians for this video, and I found out that they emerged around 2500 BCE, and there's no evidence of the Illyrians existing before 2500 BCE. According to Curtis Russell, an American expert on the prehistoric Balkans from Boston University, the Illyrians were a primitive people, small in number, who did not have the tools or the skills to engage in the construction of monumental architecture.
Schoch says on his website, Schoch being a professor of geology from the University of Boston, but also no stranger to taking an alternative viewpoint, geology is full of regularities, from precise forms of mineral crystals to the common occurrence of cyclical sedimentation. Others point out that the Bosnian pyramids are geometrically aligned to each other, but the same can also be done in nature. Here are three natural peaks in the Alps that are clearly aligned in a triangular pattern. Alignments and regularities are interesting, but again, it's not hard material evidence for man-made pyramids. The material evidence is the so-called concrete blocks that are found below the earth and vegetation. But again, these are explained naturally. As Robert Schoch says, where Osmanagic saw concrete blocks and human intervention, I saw only perfectly natural sandstones and conglomerates that had been broken into larger or smaller blocks due to both tectonic stresses and gravity slumping. And don't forget, nature does produce such natural angular hills. The so-called pyramids that poke through the ice of Antarctica are yet more examples of natural pyramid-like structures, these being another site of speculation in the alternative community. It would be easier for me to say that these Antarctica mountains and the Bosnian hills are man-made pyramids. In fact, I'd probably get more thumbs up, more subscribers and more views. But I'm yet to see any credible material evidence.
But of course he had to change his claim about the age of the pyramids and the builders of the pyramids, because it was proven beyond a doubt that the Illyrians, who he said were the pyramid builders, could not have been the pyramid builders at all. Because not only did they not exist that long ago, the population of the Illyrians had never been big enough to create any type of monumental architecture. You need a lot of manpower to create monumental architecture, and the Illyrians never had that. Osmanagic and his team of workers have also been clearing underground tunnels that they claim are as old as the pyramids, and these tunnels, according to him, are energy tunnels. Osmanagic boasts about these energy tunnels having beneficial effects on the health of the visitors. These energy tunnels are known as the Ravni tunnels, and they are claimed to be 3.8 kilometers long, which equates to roughly 2.4 miles. Osmanagic claims to have found fossilized leaves in these tunnels dating to 34,000 years ago. No idea on how these leaves were dated, there's no information on where the dating research was carried out or any other trace of evidence pointing to any truth to this claim. So yeah, I don't believe it. So these ancient man-made tunnels are, in my perception, indeed man-made tunnels. But I do not believe the ancient part at all. There are a lot of people blindly believing Osmanagic's claims about the Visoko Hills being pyramids. And one of these believers actually is Novak Djokovic, world-renowned tennis player, Wimbledon champion who has won 24 Grand Slam men's singles titles. Apparently, Novak Djokovic is fond of the Visoko Hills, and he is quite known for his new age spiritual interests, and he said he often visits the hills to recharge his batteries. He first came to the hills of Visoko in 2020, and he called it paradise on earth. He has visited the Pyramid of the Sun complex at least 4 times, alone and with family, and of course he has always been warmly welcomed by Osmanagic himself. Of course Osmanagic would warmly welcome him because, hey, that's a very famous person coming to your site, and that would bring in a lot of media attention and you can monetize that. Which they did, because in March 2022, Djokovic told Osmanagic about his idea on building a regional training center with 2 tennis courts at the Visoko Hills. Djokovic then officially opened these 2 tennis courts at the Visoko Hills in July of 2022, along with Bosnian player Aldin Setkic, Slovenian player Aljas Bedin, and Croatian player Ivan Dodic. Djokovic put up quite the unusual show, making the audience laugh by bribing the referees. We have seen Osmanagic and his workers change the shape of the hillsides over the years to make them more pyramidal in shape. In this process, they have stripped away layers of sediment from the medieval and sediment layers of the Bronze Age, the Neolithic, the Mesolithic, and possibly even layers dating back earlier than that. They have done irreparable damage to the history and archaeology of the Visoko Hills, all to boost tourism and make money. Osmanagic has continued to make alterations to the hills as time has gone by. He has not stopped, and he has funded his work either privately or through the Bosnian government. I am personally of the belief that his private funding mostly came from tourists who paid to visit the site, paid to meditate, or left contributions to the site, and not necessarily private funding out of his own pocket. In my opinion, the Bosnian Pyramids look like a massive marketing scheme. Make people believe that this is the location of the world's oldest pyramids. Make them travel there to tour the site. Make them walk around in underground tunnels, talk about spiritual beliefs a lot, and make them feel connected to the supposed ancient people who lived there. Make the tourists leave tips for the archaeological park. Even get a tennis player to fall for the hoax and let him promote the site by building 2 big tennis courts, and voila! You have the biggest hoax in the last 20 years, the Bosnian Pyramids.
But the sad thing in all of this is the fact that the excavations to uncover the so-called pyramids may actually be destroying the more important geology and paleontology. Rare animal and plant fossils and delicate trace fossils have been destroyed during the work. Sedimentary sandstone is often flat in appearance, often layered, often brittle under stress, and it can look artificial. If you believe that these stone pavements are man-made, then you may also find it hard to believe that these polygonal stones of Giant's Causeway are in fact natural geological structures, and that these large pyrite cubes grow this way in nature. I don't think the Bosnian pyramids are pyramids at all.
Well, that was interesting. What do you reckon now? Elaborate hoax or man-made pyramids? Or maybe something in between? Please let me know in the comments below, and also please check out History with Kaleigh, link in the description. And as always, please remember to like, share and subscribe to help us out. Cheers and catch you later.